afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a brand new series about languages. So, languages has been, I think I mentioned this in an earlier video, languages has been one of my passions for the past few years now. Not only learning languages, which is one of the things that I do like doing, but also just language itself and like how language functions and how it's different in other places, other countries. So I wanted to make this series of videos kind of talk a little bit talking about language in general sometimes, but largely just about my language learning. So there's a whole list of languages that I would like to learn. I don't even remember how long it is. It's pretty long, but there's one that I have started before, and it's one that I have always wanted to learn, like for even longer than I've had this huge passion for languages, and that language is Japanese. So the reason that I really want to learn Japanese isn't your basic reason. A lot of people want to learn Japanese because, they want to watch anime without the subtitles, or they want to be able to travel to Japan and be able to like converse with the people. So the reason that I want to learn Japanese, sure, I would like to be able to travel to Japan and be understood, but the biggest reason is because I absolutely love the language. I love the way it sounds. I love the way that it works. Like, there's something about the Japanese language that just I really like. So, in this video, I'm just going to talk about, just going to do an introduction to what I'm doing here. With Japanese first, and then, after I have learned Japanese, then possibly moving on to other languages, other things. So, my intention is to solely use one source of learning the language. And there's a few reasons for that. One, if you use too many sources, you can start to confuse yourself a little bit. Like, you'll be learning one thing from one source and then one thing from another source, and it's not always a bad thing, but it can be confusing. If you're learning one set of vocabulary from, your Duolingo app or your Memrise app, or you're learning another set from like a textbook or something that you're going through, and another set from a video series that you're watching on YouTube or something like that. So I've found it's easier to just choose one resource and go with that one. There are a lot of them out there, and there's a lot of them out there that will get you to the point that you want to get to in whatever language it is. It's all a matter of how you learn. So the biggest thing that I hear, because I've done huge amounts of research into different language learning apps and programs and different things like that. I've looked at Rosetta Stone. I actually have Rosetta Stone for Japanese, but I've looked at Rosetta Stone and used it a little bit. I've done Duolingo, the Memrise app. I've done numerous different things for Japanese as well as German, because I was learning German for a little while. And there's one thing that I discovered in all of the research that I was doing, and it's that there is always people who have negative things to say about every single thing, resource that you can find. Rosetta Stone, there's negative reviews and different things for Rosetta Stone. The Pimsleur method, there's negative reviews for that. Duolingo, there's negative things that people say about that. The reason for that is not everyone learns the same way. So the biggest thing is to find the way that works for you. Figure out how you learn the best, whether that's audio, your auditory learning, whether that's your visual learning, or whether it's a combination of the two, and stick with that. So if you're an auditory learner, something like Pimsleur or Michelle Thomas is going to be pretty good for you, because that is solely, or it's not solely reliant, but it is heavily based in auditory learning. If you're a visual learner, something like Rosetta Stone or Memrise, or even some textbooks will be more of what will help you, because you are able to see what you're studying, and that's going to be a bigger help for you. So it's just a matter of finding the best way for you yourself to learn. So the way that I'm learning, not this past Christmas, but the one before that, so Christmas of 2018, I received a gift from Actually, part of this gift I got from my from Anna's Anna's parents, and then the other part from my parents is that I received a set of books, and I'll show it to you real quick. It's called Japanese from Zero. So I kind of started going through this. This is the first level. And I kind of started going through this at the beginning, right when I got it, and it does. There's a lot of good stuff in here, and I like what is doing. But at the time, I was terrible. My ADD was out of control. I was terrible at focusing, and just things were all going wrong, and so I just kind of completely fell off the bandwagon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to this, and this is the resource that I'm going to be using to learn Japanese. Now, there are 5 books in this series. There's this one, I have this one, and then I have level 2 as well as level 3. Now, here's what I like about these books. From what I've used of them, here's what I like about these books. One of the things that I want to do with Japanese, I want to be able to read and write. Maybe not necessarily write, but I want to be able to read Japanese. That's one of the things, my intentions behind learning it. And in order to do that, you have to learn the 3 different alphabets, I guess you could call them. The 3 different character sets. So the first book goes over hiragana. And the way that it teaches this to you is it's called, believe it's called progressive teaching. So you'll have a word written in what's called romaji, which is just the regular letters, the Roman letters. And then as you're learning the hiragana symbols, so let's see if I can find some here. So as you're learning these hiragana symbols right here, it is going to, as you are learning them and you're writing them down, because part of these lessons, what these lessons do is they have you write down that hiragana letter or character over and over and over again. It's like 5 to 10 times or something like that. Then in the next lesson, it won't have the romaji letter, it won't have the Roman letter, it will just have the hiragana character. And then as you learn more, it'll start substituting those. So then by the end of this book, you will only be reading everything that you're reading will be in hiragana, not in the Roman letters, the romaji. The second book does the same thing, but with the second alphabet called katakana. And then the third book again does the same thing, but then with this one you start into kanji, which are the kanji are for those of you who don't know, are the more intricate characters. They look more like Chinese characters, because that's where that came from. So this is the resource that I'm going to be using for learning Japanese. And then I have a notebook set aside for this, because one of the things that I found when I was first going through this book is to have a separate notebook like this so that I could practice drawing the characters, because that was incredibly helpful. I still recognize the characters that I learned in the couple of lessons, the 1.5 or 2 lessons that I was able to do in this book before I fell off the bandwagon. And it helped to write the characters down in a separate notebook and just practice those characters, as well as possibly other things as well. So at the beginning of this, of my language series, I'm going to be going through these books, and I will have a video up every week, every Sunday, starting next Sunday. And I'm going to start actually going through these books starting on the day that this video goes up, because I'm recording this, what is today, Monday, Tuesday? I don't even know what day of the week it is. I think it's Monday. So I'm recording this Monday, and I'm going to start actually full on studying on Sunday. And so then I'll put a video up every week of kind of my progress and different things like that. One of my goals, and I'll keep track of this somehow. One of my goals is to be able to get to a fairly decent conversational level by the time that Anna and I go to Disney World again in December. Because one of the things that I like to do while I'm there is to use Japanese with the cast members that speak Japanese. I've used a few phrases that I know here and there on a couple of trips, and they absolutely love it. And it's really fun to see their reactions. So yeah, every week I will get on here and kind of give you guys an update on how I'm doing, whether or not I've been good about studying every day, because language learning is something that you need to study every day. You can get by missing a day or two, but you can't get by doing one lesson out of this book and then never picking it up again for another month and a half, 2 months, 6 months, something like that, and then picking it up again and then trying to go on to the next lessons. It's not going to work. If you really want this to work, you need to be studying every day. And that's one of the things that I myself need to get better at. It is really hard. It is. I know this, especially for people like me who have ADD. It is really hard to do that. It's really hard to focus for that long. So, hopefully, I will be able to stick with it this time, and you'll be able to see some nice progress. So, I hope you all stick with me through this adventure that I'm kind of embarking on, and I hope you enjoy the videos that I put out. So, until then, don't forget to thank the Venetians.
Let's get some sun, baby, it's time to go. All we need to put on is the radio. I can feel